How do societies produce, distribute, and consume wealth? What drives our decisions about resources? From the bartering of ancient tribes to the complexities of global finance, humanity has always sought to understand the ebb and flow of resources. This is the fascinating story of economics, the study of how we manage our world. Our journey begins in the mists of antiquity. Early human societies, driven by the need for survival, developed rudimentary forms of exchange. In ancient Greece, thinkers like Aristotle contemplated household management, oikonomia, from which economics derives, and the ethics of wealth, distinguishing between natural and unnatural forms of acquisition. Across civilizations, rulers faced fundamental economic questions: how to feed their people, fund their armies, and build their empires. These were practical matters of resource allocation, taxation, and trade, laying the unspoken groundwork for future economic thought. While Western economic thought focused on nascent market mechanisms, ancient India offered a profound, holistic perspective where economic prosperity was intertwined with ethical governance and individual well-being. The seminal work, Kautilya's Arthashastra, 4th to 3rd century BCE, is far more than an economic treatise. It's a comprehensive manual on statecraft. Kautilya meticulously details administration, taxation, public finance, trade regulations, and even concepts akin to modern public welfare and consumer protection. He emphasized the state's role in ensuring prosperity, stability, and the welfare of its subjects, a vision of a well-managed economy serving a greater societal good. Beyond Kautilya, ancient Indian wisdom, particularly in texts like the Arthashastras and the Bhagavad Gita, didn't offer a separate economic theory, but rather integrated economic activities within a larger moral and spiritual framework. Wealth, artha, was recognized as essential for sustenance and fulfilling one's duties, but it was always to be pursued ethically, adhering to dharma, righteous conduct. Concepts of selfless action, moderate consumption, charity, and sustainable living were emphasized, viewing economic pursuits not just for personal gain, but as part of a collective and cosmic order. This provided a psychological underpinning where individual economic behavior was guided by a broader sense of duty and well-being. For centuries in the West, economic thought evolved slowly. The medieval period saw economic activity largely influenced by religious doctrine, with debates on usury and fair prices. By the 16th to 18th centuries, mercantilism dominated. Nations aimed to accumulate wealth, primarily gold and silver, by maximizing exports and minimizing imports. It was a zero-sum game, where one nation's gain was another's loss, reflecting a nationalistic and protectionist economic psychology. The Enlightenment brought a radical shift. In 1776, Scottish philosopher Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations. Smith argued that when individuals pursue their self-interest in a free market, an invisible hand guides their actions to promote the overall economic well-being of society. He advocated for free trade, specialization, and limited government intervention, laying the foundation for classical economics. Other classical economists like David Ricardo and Thomas Malthus explored concepts like comparative advantage, rent, and population growth, striving to identify the laws governing wealth creation. The Industrial Revolution reshaped societies, creating immense wealth but also stark inequalities. This spurred Karl Marx to develop his critique of capitalism in the mid-19th century. Marx argued that capitalism inherently leads to class struggle and exploitation, advocating for a classless society. His ideas profoundly influenced economic and political thought for over a century. In the late 19th century, the marginal revolution swept through economics, giving rise to neoclassical economics. Thinkers like Alfred Marshall, Leon Walras, and Karl Menger introduced concepts like marginal utility, supply and demand curves, and the idea of rational economic agents making decisions at the margin. This brought a more mathematical and scientific rigor to the discipline, focusing on individual decision-making and market equilibrium. The devastating Great Depression of the 1930s challenged the classical belief that markets always self-correct. British economist John Maynard Keynes proposed that governments could intervene to stabilize economies through fiscal and monetary policies, leading to the rise of Keynesian economics. This marked a significant shift towards acknowledging the role of government in managing economic fluctuations. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have seen economics diversify. Monetarism emphasized the role of money supply. Behavioral economics, drawing on insights from psychology, challenges the assumption of perfectly rational economic agents, showing how cognitive biases and emotions influence our decisions. A fascinating modern echo of the ancient Indian focus on human nature in economic dealings. Development economics focuses on growth in developing nations, while environmental economics grapples with sustainability. The rise of globalization and digital economies means economics is constantly adapting to new realities, grappling with issues from climate change to artificial intelligence. As modern economics faces complex challenges, there's a growing recognition that purely material models might be insufficient. We're seeing a renewed interest in ethical consumption, sustainable practices, and the pursuit of gross national happiness, concepts that resonate deeply with the holistic and ethically grounded understanding of prosperity found in ancient Indian wisdom. The idea that economic activity should ultimately serve human well-being, not just material accumulation, is a powerful bridge between ancient insight and contemporary challenges. From basic bartering to complex global finance, the history of economics is a story of humanity's continuous effort to understand and manage scarcity, create wealth, and build better societies. It's a journey that began with fundamental questions of survival, evolved through complex theories of markets and human behavior, and continues to seek answers in the pursuit of a more prosperous and equitable future for nations and for souls.